Welcome to Energy Stew. This is Peter Roth, your host, and I'd like to ask you, what do you really know about probiotics? Many of you are even taking them. And do you really know what you're taking? Do you really know the science about it? And maybe there's a lot to know that we don't understand yet. So to help us know better is a scientist, a man who created an incredible probiotic based on a lot of scientific research and a lot of scientific experimentation too, because I was there watching him experiment, and there were some explosions in the room. So to help us understand what probiotics are really about is my friend Dr. Howard Robbins, who is very well versed in this subject matter. Howard, welcome.
Well, thank you, Peter. It's an honor and privilege always to be with you. We've known each other for many years, and for the people that are listening to this, let me just say that because of what I do for a living, intravenous ozone therapy, which kills all the good and bad bacteria in a human body, and an animal body for that matter, because it's used in veterinary medicine too. I had to find probiotics to replenish the good boys when I killed them all off, if you had any to begin with. And that's what led me into this, looking for something that would work. Now, why did I have to look for something that would work? Well, most people take probiotics. You can buy them everywhere. There's actually several hundred companies that make probiotics. It's kind of easy. All they actually do is buy the freeze-dried powdered probiotics from companies that are licensed to make them. And they just put them into capsules, or they compress them with other things into tablets, or they just sell you the powder itself. And you can buy it in just about every health store and pharmacy, online today, just about everywhere. So we used all these products for years and got very poor results. I did not really understand why until 2020. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But but back about 9 years ago, I started to look into finding something that would work. And I found there was a horrible liquid probiotic, horrible in that it smelled terrible and it tasted worse. But it actually helped some of the patients benefit with benefits.
I
And
remember years ago being told that if you had to take an antibiotic or a course of antibiotics, it would ruin all of the microbiome and you'd have to restore it. And I read a number of times that don't expect probiotics to help. You really need to spend time eating the proper foods to build the gut microbiome back. There are no shortcuts because apparently they said probiotics aren't the answer. So they
they said it for good reason. What happened was I started to look into the literature in our National Library of Medicine and found there were over 15,000 papers written on probiotics, studies on probiotics just in the last decade. And and there was mixed results. And most of the time, and we're going to get into, I guess, in a few minutes, what worked, but there was very good reasons why what didn't work. And back then, I knew 9 years ago, I thought I knew everything about probiotics. And if you're not seeing this, my hands are stretched left and right as far as I could extend them. Now, After 9 years of studying this constantly, and I lecture at medical meetings, for doctors around the world, I'm published in peer-reviewed medical journals on probiotics. I've learned that I know, and now I'm showing people the index finger and thumb of one hand squeezed as tightly as I can. That's how much I know about it. The more I've learned, the less I know. That's how much more there is to learn. But back in what I didn't understand was, why did they work and help some people and not others? And I found that there was on 60 Minutes, they did an expose, if you want to call it that, because they always like to trash things to make news. On 60 Minutes on CBS in June of 2020 during the pandemic. And they had scientists and doctors from around the world explain why probiotics didn't work. And they actually, for once, told the truth. And you can actually find that on YouTube or something and get what they said. So what happened was Dr. Hibbard from North Carolina University Medical School's research department said they don't work. There's just no way to get them to work because they're freeze-dried and they're basically killed. They're very sensitive. Probiotics, these bacteria are very sensitive, and they can be easily killed during the freeze-drying process that turns them into a powder that's often mixed and most of the powder is either sugar, okay, for the most part. And my patients can't do sugar. So that was an issue, as I found out. But more importantly, some did come back to life, barely, and hopefully survive the stomach and then have to stick to the wall of the gut where you need them, not just aid digestion. So what they found was, she said, they don't work. So why do some people feel better? And she said placebo effect. They expect to feel better, so they do feel better.
That's
And
powerful.
there are people that are eating kefir and yogurt and sauerkraut and kombucha, and they have some positive benefits, but very few strains, and they basically just aid digestion. And my patients need more than just to aid digestion. They need them to benefit their gut for various reasons, because, as I said, we kill the good boys off with the bad when we treat people with intravenous ozone.
But a lot
Well,
of people think the gut is really just for digestion. And now we're talking about that it actually applies to so much of body health.
oh, I'll get into that in a few minutes after I tell how this product was formulated. So I wound up taking 27 patented strains. Now that's important because these patented strains were called next generation probiotics, and they're actually created to survive the stomach acids over 90%, 85 to 90%, whereas most capsule, powder, and tablet probiotics are destroyed over 90%. But then what happened on that show is Professors Eliav and Siegel from the Weizmann Institute in Israel did something, and I actually looked up the study to prove it was true. They weren't just talking. These are pretty big men in the probiotic world. And what they did was they took a large group of patients and they gave them probiotics, and then they did endoscopies. That's where you stick a tube down into the stomach and you see what's happening to the capsule or tablet in the stomach. Then they did an endoscopy. That means they stick another tube into your rectum and they can see what's happening in the rectum itself. Then they actually feces, something that I don't generally do. I hope the listening audience doesn't either. But the truth is, here's what they found. In many of the patients, the capsules were either partially opened or completely unopened. So that means they didn't get any benefit. Then for those where the capsules did dissolve like they're supposed to, they measured the amount of bacteria in the feces and the types as well, and they found that literally everything that went in your mouth came out the other end, and virtually none of it benefited the patient. It was shocking and surprising to them because they also believed that there was some benefits to it and it wasn't just placebo, and they found out different. On the other hand, so what did we have to do? We had to come up with a product that would work. Now, before I go on with the product that would work, people have to understand there's a thing called a prebiotic. Prebiotic is basically the food that bacteria eat. And if they don't have the right environment to grow in and the right food to eat, they're just going to die. It's just the same as a human being. You know, if you put yourself down in the Arctic or Antarctic with minus 50 degrees below zero and you're naked, you're going to die. And if you don't have food to eat, eventually you'll die. Well, what we found was probiotics needed what's called prebiotics. That's actually the food they eat. Now, there's different food that they can eat. Sugar, my diabetic patients just can't do it. So it's absolutely out of the question, which is predominantly what you find in capsules, powders, and tablets. So what you can use is eat a diet rich in fiber. And if you eat a diet that's rich in fiber, you're feeding the healthy bacteria that's in your gut. Fiber that is from vegetables or ideally organic. So what we created was an organic juice made of mint, kale, lettuce, cucumber, celery, apple, lemon juice. So virtually no sugar, no alcohol, because kombucha has alcohol, and my patients can't do alcohol either because if it's negative effects. So now you have a juice that has fiber in it, and I had to make it so that the fiber would be so finely sieved that you didn't have to shake it like orange juice. Because if you see the orange juice containers, it says shake it like you mean it, because it's basically water, juice, and then pulp. Well, here the fiber is actually the pulp, so to speak, from the vegetables, and that's the food that the bacteria need to grow on. Then the next thing, and this was very important, and we learned this early on, the bacteria need to be alive, not just alive, but living. There's a difference. They're always alive when the bacteria are made. But then when they're freeze-dried, they're put into suspended animation, and you're hoping they're going to come back to life, that they weren't destroyed by it. But if you have the bacteria living to begin with in this 100% organic juice, and that's another issue. The FDA and the USDA says you could be 95% and be called 100% in this country organic in juice. The Germans, and this juice has, this product is a beverage, so it has German certification. They don't permit that. If it's not 100%, it's not biologique. It's not 100% organic. So I wanted a 100% organic juice, in this case made of mint, kale, lettuce, cucumber, celery, apple, and lemon juice. And when we combined these next generation bacteria, we thought that was great. Well, it wasn't. And it took 3 food scientists to help us figure out why. Okay. And the third one being Dr. Reza Kamari with a PhD from MIT, a specialty in food science, and obviously and a real specialty in probiotics. And he found that different bacterias overwhelmed each other, and you had to find bacterias that would do of all these different strains that I found that would actually work and play well with each other and support each other, so to speak, in your gut when they reach the gut. But then there was another issue. You needed predominantly bacteria that wouldn't just aid digestion, but could stick to the wall of the gut. And they're called smart probiotics. They didn't go to Harvard, Yale, or Oxford. They're actually change their genetic expression when they reach the wall of the gut. And you have to have the right types, not just the acidophilus kind of, which look like your index finger. They're called rods. They look like a stick. You need the kind that have like hands and feet that can grab onto the wall of the gut and stick there. And that's where the bifidobacterium come in. So not only does it aid digestion, but it sticks to the wall of the gut. And 15 proprietary patented strains of next generation smart probiotics. Next, you needed large amounts. So the fact that they're living when you get this product, in fact, what happened was I went to a company and I had to buy into the company to get them to make this. So, in all fairness, we call it full disclosure. I am a part partner in the product that I'm talking about, Doctor's Biome. But more importantly, I had to make certain that it would stick to the wall of the gut because this is where you need them to get yeast in balance again. And why is yeast out of balance? Well, if you've taken an antibiotic even once in your lifetime, if you eat red meat or chicken or farm-raised fish that isn't organic, kosher, or halal, you've had antibiotics whether you know it or not, or whether you purposely took them, and that killed all the good boys off in the gut. So here we have next generation patented strains that can survive the stomach, stick to the wall of the gut, get yeast in balance, kill off bad bacteria, and live happily there, but not happily ever after. Now, why not? That's a question I get all the time. Because we eat food and we drink liquids that are, whether you like it or not, contaminated with bacteria. And that's just the way it is. Air touches all these things. Air is filthy. And food picks up all these bacteria that our immune system is supposed to really kill off and get and destroy. Our mouth and our stomach, our digestive acid is supposed to kill all this bad stuff, but it doesn't. Now, some of this gets into our gut, and that's where the probiotics sacrifice their lives like kamikazes to get rid of all this bad stuff that we're getting in. And when we can't get rid of it, that's when you find up you're having digestive disorders, leaky gut, irritable bowel, colitis, ulcerative colitis, duodenitis, ileitis, all the different digestive diseases and disorders that people get,
And
including
each strain,
Crohn's disease.
right, all of that. And each strain has different ways that it helps the body.
Well, now you're getting into something even more interesting and exciting. The gut connects. This is hard for people to understand. So it's obvious we need healthy bacteria and we need them in the wall of the gut. Why? Because the gut communicates. These bacteria actually communicate with every organ and every system in your body.
In
They
different
call it
ways.
Yes, they call it the gut. I call it fill in the blank axis. There's the gut brain axis, the gut heart axis, the gut diabetes axis, the gut weight loss axis, the gut autism axis, just to name some, the gut skin axis. If you have a skin problem and you can't easily get rid of it, it's because you don't have a healthy gut. If you have depression and anxiety and you're not being managed well with it, it may just be because you have an unhealthy gut. If you can't lose weight and you're trying to lose weight more, and it's really a problem or it keeps coming back, it's because you don't have a healthy gut. And I can go on and on. Yeast infections like vaginitis from Candida, urinary tract infections, fungal toenails in athlete's foot. I can go on and on and on. All these things relate to an unhealthy gut. It's unbelievable. And if you just start reading the literature, then you will start to realize that it's not unbelievable. It's been very well studied. But you needed the right answer. So with all these communications going on in the body, it's easy now to understand. Oh, even a better one that I left out. I shouldn't leave this one out because I lecture at dental meetings. the gut mouth axis. You cannot, if you have dental problems, gum disease, whatever, you cannot have a healthy mouth without a healthy gut. And actually, it's converse. If you don't have a healthy mouth, it's hard to have a healthy gut, even taking probiotics. It works in both directions in that case. But certainly, if you got to start somewhere, start with your gut and get it healthy. I urge everybody to eat a healthy organic diet loaded with green vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, green leafy vegetables, because these are loaded with fiber. And that's what your gut needs, healthy fiber, because that promotes the gut, okay, to grow healthy, but more healthy bacteria and replenish them. Here's an interesting fact that I know people don't know. Babies are born without microbiome. They get some microbiome if they have a natural childbirth as they exit the birth canal. Then they get more from mothers if the mothers breastfeed. And I know that's been a problem for many women. So that's why kids, by having an unhealthy, aren't getting enough healthy bacteria, because what if the mother doesn't have a healthy gut to begin with? How is she supposed to give healthy biome then to the baby? And if yeast overgrows in the gut, and yeast is normal to have, candida is normal in your gut. It's not a bad thing. It has to be kept in balance, though. And healthy bacteria keep it in balance. And if you don't have healthy bacteria, yeast overgrows. And if you look up symptoms of candidiasis on the internet, you can find that almost everything a person suffers from is listed there as a cause.
But
So
let's say that we understand all the different ways that a healthy gut can help the body. And you have a probiotic that has live strains in it. And I think there are 16 of them.
15, and they're growing in number every day, as from the date that's on the bottle. It's a date of manufacture, not a date of expiration. So within weeks, the 27 billion, what they call CFUs, colony forming units, grow into 50 to 60 billion, and within a month 100 to 200 billion. And you don't need to refrigerate it. Actually, by the end of 3 months unrefrigerated, just at room temperature, okay.
With a sealed bottle.
In a sealed bottle, of course. It comes in these 2-ounce shots because air would damage it. That's why opening
Right.
up big bottles of it is a mistake. So by taking this and you take 1 2-ounce delicious shot and you dump the bottle. And by the way, that's another. I'm into this, as you know, for years. They use the bottles are in what they call PET plastic. PET plastic has the triangle 1 on the bottom, which makes it absolutely unleachable from anything harmful. This has been tested by everybody, every organization for the last 40 plus years to be
So,
safe to use.
so it's ideal packaging.
Very important, and recyclable. Where I live, recycle. They only recycle PET plastic, triangle 1 plastic. They won't recycle other plastic anymore. So this is recyclable as well. Everything, even the packaging that they send it to you, comes 30 bottles in a month supply. Um, and the expression "nothing cheap is good and nothing good is cheap" for a reason. Cheap is expensive is another expression
Well,
they
you are
use.
buying, I know that you buy each strain separately
Yes.
and you put them together and you have it shipped in so that it's very alive and you bottle it together and then you offer this bottled product with as I said 15 different strains that are very alive, and each strain has very important work to perform in the body. So for so many people who have health issues, there's so many health issues that can be resolved through the proper probiotic. And And there's nothing out there really that can attest to how truly alive it is and effective it is. And so I think because we're getting near the end of the show. And
Well, very important, uh, I got you, I think the company did a special thing for you, and they gave you a discount code that you could give your listeners. So if you know it, you should say it so that they could write it down. And when you go to buy this on doctorsbiome.com, that's DOCTORSBIOME. It sounds like biome, but it's pronounced biome. Doctorsbiome.com. If you use the coupon code that Peter can give you, you can get a 10% discount. But
I think
even
it's
better than
Peter, I
that,
just think it's Peter 10.
Peter 10. Well, then here's another thing. To get another 10% off, they should go on auto ship. This way they get 20% off the retail
And
price.
that's
But
important because this is an expensive product, but people have to understand the value of it for their health and how much they have to invest in their health by taking something that makes a huge difference.
well, there's more. There's more. First of all, you can cancel any time, but they give you 100% better than 100% money back guarantee. And I made them do this. That means that if the consumer, if the patient or person doesn't like it, can't take it for any reason, all you do is call the company up. They'll give you your money back. Won't be able to order it again. They'll give you your money back, but they'll tell you to give what you have to somebody else who can benefit from it.
That's wonderful.
Okay, so that makes, I mean, it's free shipping and whatnot, just in case people are concerned, because it does have weight. They ship it free anywhere in continental U.S.
Right. And there's so many people with health issues that they don't have answers for. And this could very well be an answer for them.
Well, what the literature is showing today is that the gut is essential for many things. I'm published, for example, with this not only on beneficial effects on every digestive disease, but complete suppression of Clostridium difficile infection, which kills 30,000 people here in the U.S. every year from uncontrolled diarrhea. Complete suppression of Candida in vitro, complete suppression of E. coli, which is the major cause of urinary tract infections in
Wow,
women.
that's amazing. That's great. So we're getting really at the end, and you've already told people how to go to the website and how to order, and I really am encouraging it because I know I watched you create this product through trial and error over a number of years, and I was satisfied with you that you finally had the answers that you needed.
Well, listen, probiotics has become a very hot topic virtually they're everywhere. But this is important. What is a probiotic? I left this out at the very beginning. To actually be called a probiotic, it has to confer some kind of health benefit on the host. If
Oh,
it doesn't give you a benefit, it's not a probiotic. So they're putting probiotics, for example, into seltzer to drink. They're putting probiotics into shampoo and soap. And if it doesn't fix some problem or prevent some problem in your scalp or your skin, it's not a probiotic. It's just bacteria that aren't dangerous.
yeah, that's
But
interesting.
because the word is so powerful today, people realize probiotics are important. They're trying to put it into just about everything. They'll throw probiotics
But,
into, oh my God, I mean, into gasoline if they
but
thought
now
they could sell more
that's funny.
gasoline with it.
But now people know what the science about it, and I'm so glad that we could do this show. I'm so grateful to you to have developed this and to be able to talk about it on Energy Stew. So I want to thank you so much for being a guest on Energy Stew.
It's always a pleasure to be a guest on your show, Peter. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. And this is Peter Roth, your host at Energy Stew at PRN, Energy Stew at prn.live. And I'm Peter at heartriver.org, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening.